You know what changes? Everything. Times change. Technology changes. People change. Sometimes it seems overnight. You can resist it. You can adapt to it. But you can't ignore it. Our thinking is to lead it by changing the way we work, changing the way expectations are met, leading clients and the practice of law forward. You know what that changes? Everything.
Hi, and welcome to Take 5 of the Top 50 CEOs. It's a series of video interviews with Atlantic Business Magazine's 2020 Top 50 CEOs. I'm Dawn Chafe. I am the co-owner and executive editor of Atlantic Business Magazine. I'm joined today by Blair and Rosalyn Hyslop. They are the co-CEOs of Atlantic Canada's largest family-owned and operated bakery. Welcome, Rosalyn and Blair. Let's turn up the heat.
To that. So first, I would say that we have grown exponentially. I think our average growth over the last 6 years has been 35% a year. We've had years with 6% growth and years with 50% growth. And we have 4 times as many employees as we had back then. It has been an incredible ride that's had a lot of challenges with it. So the biggest challenges, I would say, which is where we're focused right now, is on getting our sort of processes and systems and things aligned internally to be able to compensate for that growth and to take a lot of pressure off of our employees and our bottom line. It takes a lot of cash to grow that fast, and if you're not efficient as you're doing it, then it can cost you a lot of money, and that was our experience. So really getting the systems and processes in place and working on making sure as we grow that we're able to manage that efficiently and effectively. That's been the biggest challenge. So this year and the last year, really, that's been our focus, is doing those kinds of things. So first of all, baking is inherently, and bakers are inherently, a creative lot. And so innovation comes naturally. Sometimes we walk into the bakery and there's new products there that just came because someone was inspired on the shift last night to try something new and something different. And because we have stores of our own, we can put those in our stores and see how well they work. And if they work well, we can take those to 600 stores across the Maritimes and Maine and scale up and sort of drive growth that way. As of lately, the innovation has really been on the technology side. So we're building a new plant in Moncton that is the first commercial bakery that's been built in Atlantic Canada in more than 20 years. And that facility will do, I think, 3,000 loaves of bread an hour, 10,000 rolls an hour, and around 3,000 pizza shells an hour. And the technology and innovation that allows us to do that in a more efficient way, to be able to think about 3,000 loaves of bread, have it all turn out, in a high quality kind of way, and then be able to slice it and bag it and get it out to market. Remembering we have no inventory, so everything we make, we have to get to 600 stores every day with no inventory to start with. So the technology that goes into everything from the ovens to the production lines and so on, there's a lot of innovation in this new bakery we're building.
We've got the creativity and the automation. So on the equipment. So, while we're doing both of those things, making sure that homemade taste, that quality product is not being lost by scaling up. So that's an important piece of being innovative as well. How do we do those two things and keep that homemade taste that we're known for? I think one of the joys of owning Mrs. Dunster's is that we get to do what we love in the place that we love. So getting to work from our, where we grew up is very important to us, and also supporting the communities in the places where we grew up is also super important to us. We want to make a difference, and we want to show young people that they too can stay home where they grew up and be successful. And so we often talk about that when we're out. There's so many successful businesses in New Brunswick, and they don't talk about it enough. And so our young people think that they have to go away to be successful. And we just want to get the message out that that's not true.
There is a strategic advantage to New Brunswick on the supply side. So again, we make about 400 different things and we ship them to 600 different stores. So for us to be able to get fresh product to Glace Bay or Camelton or Portland, Maine, within a day's ride is really important to our business. So being located in Sussex and Moncton and New Brunswick gives us the ability to cover the maritime provinces in the state of Maine, which is our core geography, efficiently with fresh product. The reason this co-CEO structure evolved, or how it evolved, was that we had put an advisory board into place a couple of years back. And given that we were growing at 30, 40, 50% a year, we were having a challenging time sort of managing the business. So it was their recommendation that we create the co-CEO structure. In building on each of our strengths. So Rosalyn manages the operations side of the business, the human resources, the people side, and looks after those sort of core areas of the business. I'm more involved on the strategy, acquisition, building a new bakery, and the finance and sales and marketing side, which is my background and the things I like to do. So ultimately it works very well in that sense. Sometimes it gets muddy when you got to kind of take off your operations hat and put on your shareholders hat, or take off your shareholders hat and put on your operations hat. And those lines tend to get crossed occasionally because we're co-owners and co-CEOs. It's definitely something that we work at every day. And I think it's a new phenomenon where if you look around today and see the number of couplepreneurs, as we call them, compared to 10 years ago, it's a growing trend. And we have a lot of friends that are couplepreneurs now, and we talk often about the rewards and challenges of having your life partner as a business partner. And it takes a lot of work, but it's fun. When the kids were growing up, and they were being, sort of creative in their avoidance of chores and duties and things, Rosin would always look at them and say, you need to use your superpowers for good. And that became, as we bought our business, became one of our core values as part of the business, is using your superpowers for good. And we believe that everybody has a superpower or two, and that we have a responsibility to use those for good. So the actual giving, that's the easy part. That's the, school lunch programs and things that are aligned to what we're able to do as a food manufacturer that makes yummy food and people need to eat. And will you help us out? And yeah, sure we will. And we do those things. But really what amplifies our giving in the community is when we lean into our superpowers and use those to help, whether it's developing a new strategic plan for economic development for Sussex when the mine closed. The $1 Million Pledge is an initiative we co-founded for the United Way in St. John, where 10 companies commit $10,000 a year for 10 years, which is $1 million, to fight child poverty in part of the province that has the highest child poverty rate in the country. And so these are, we set out to raise $1 million and we raised $1.4 million. And we did that by using the things that we're good at and the connections that we have to be able to talk to people and convince them to do that. So that's much more impactful than, giving away a few loaves of bread to a school lunch program. And we try to encourage that in all of our employees is, what are your superpowers? Do you know how to, are you a creative writer? Are you an artist? Are you a baker? What are the things that you can do to use your superpowers for good in the community? And so that's why we're passionate about that. It's because we really strongly believe that we have a responsibility. And I think that's something that companies sort of back in the good old days, that used to be part of being part of a community, and a company was part of a community where employees lived in that community. And I think as corporately people got away from that as the focus became on shareholders and quarterly returns and those kinds of things. But we are part of community. We feed hospitals and nursing homes and prisons and schools and families, and these are all part of the communities we're in, and we feel it every day because we're making fresh products. So we feel a responsibility to give back to the community
too. It's part of our responsibility when you think about the employees that we have, and when people ask us, what is it that keeps you up at night, for us, one of the main things is that we're responsible for the livelihoods of over 200 people and their families. And so part of giving to the community is supporting our employees and their families in another way. And and that's super important to us.